Welcome back to Sacred Rhythms. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the entrance rite. Now you'll remember that worshipers have been preparing their hearts for worship. They have been practicing the breath prayer. They have been practicing the Jesus prayer. They have been quietly contemplating entering worship. Well, now comes the point where we actually do enter worship. And the way that Jackie cues the congregation that it's time to enter worship is she segues from the opening hymn into the introit. Don't worry about that. We'll come back to what the introit is. She segues and then she plays the introductory note, and the lone cantor standing next to the kid with the cross. And begins to chant the antiphon, the first part of the introit. And the whole congregation stands up as Jackie plays the note, and the cantor the congregation stands up and turns around to face the back of the church, to face the narthex, to face the processional cross. That's what they're facing. And the cantor begins chanting the introit. Now we use ancient chant tones because we love them, and because they help people enter more deeply into this altered state of consciousness, and because they're cool. And so our introits follow a set form. First, there is the introductory antiphon, the first antiphon, sung by a lone cantor. And then usually the men sing a verse of a psalm. And then usually the women sing a second verse of a psalm. And then they sing the Glory be to the Father and to the Son and to the Holy Spirit as a united choir. They sing the doxology. And then they sing the antiphon again. Meanwhile, the whole congregation has been facing the processional cross, which is at the back of the church, and then Jackie segues from the chant that the choir has been using into what the opening hymn is going to be. And the opening hymn always has something to do with the theme of the day, as you're going to run across it in the prayers that come up and in the lessons as they come up, and hopefully you'll see it in the sermon. Anyway, we sag into the opening hymn and the cross starts to move. And I love this. This is like a liturgical dance that everyone is participating in. The whole congregation is moving as the cross goes by them up to the altar. They are following it with their eyes. Keep your eyes on the cross. And all of the worship leaders are lining up behind the cross, and they're following the cross, and the entire congregation is singing, and the choir is singing, and they're singing this introductory hymn, the opening hymn, the first hymn. And by the time the hymn is over, you've got everybody in place to lead worship. I'm in my place, Mike's in his place, the acolytes are in their places, the candle's lit, the processional cross has been put in its stand, the choir is in its place. All the congregation is facing forward for worship, and we are ready to go on with worship. And this is something that the introductory rite has made possible. It has brought us into the presence of the Holy One of Israel in a worshipful frame of mind. And we have begun worshiping, and we are ready to do this. And it's the entrance rite that does all this. Now, where you find the introits is you can find Lutheran introits in the altar book of the service book and hymnal. That's the old red book. You can find Lutheran introits in the Old Common Service altar book. And you can find them some other places, but those are the places that are easiest. Introits are wonderful. Introits are wonderful. The entrance rite itself, the whole thing, is wonderful. I love it. In fact, I often am in tears, but the congregation can't see that because I'm toward the back of the procession and everybody's got their eyes on the cross. And it's just wonderful. It's like a liturgical dance. There's all of this motion and there's music, and it's all to the glory of God, into whose presence we are coming to begin worship. And that's the entrance rite. I'm glad that you came back for Sacred Rhythms, and I hope that you'll come again. And we'll be talking about the confession and the Kyrie and all kinds of good stuff like that. Thanks a lot.